Yeah, you're moving slowly.
Ah,
Not sure why. I'm moving fine.
that's strange. It's because we're sharing the screen. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it should be
All
okay because
right.
it's recording.
Right.
Every time
Okay.
you go on, it flashes, so it's like goes from me to you.
Right. I got you. Okay. Right. So we're so we're ready now.
We're ready, aren't we, Skippy? We're ready, aren't we?
Right. Hi everyone. I'm here with after reading his bio, what I can only describe as a legend that is Leee John,
Thank
and
you.
I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this for a very, very long time.
Oh,
Um, he has the honor of being my very first interviewee on Zoom, and I'm just thrilled. So,
thank you.
hello, Leee.
Hi, Coral.
Hello, hi. So, I like to find out about the person behind the interview.
Hmm.
So, we'll be incorporating, what you have achieved, which is a lot, but also about your outlook, your philosophy, your creative process. So, I suppose the first question is, what first got you into music?
Well, I started when I was very young, and the cat's jumping up here
Mm,
now. I started when I was very young. Um, my parents split, and I went to live in America. I lived in New York.
yeah.
And at that point, it was a very changing world. It was a very changing. Actually, it's very reminiscent to what's happening now because when I was in New York,
Mm,
Martin Luther King had just been assassinated, Robert F. Kennedy had been
mm,
assassinated, Motown was
mm,
there. I remember watching as a kid, 6, 7, Julia, Diane Carroll on TV, Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, you know,
yeah.
boxing matches. I remember everybody was going wild because Isaac Hayes had won the Academy Award for Shaft. And I was a kid,
Okay.
I just remember that. I remember learning about Black history. I used to go to summer school,
Yeah.
7, 8, and it was a different world to what I knew here. And then I came
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
here um, in my early teens, and I was signed to a record label.
Mm,
I was always singing. And in actual fact, prior to that, in America, I auditioned for Worldwide Records, and I was signed to that label. But my father
yeah.
wasn't into me committing so much time to it. They went to my school, very
Mm,
Caribbean, that thing that their schoolwork comes first. So
yeah. Yeah.
in the summer it was great. I was doing it, but then when it came down for school, it was education. So
Education. Yeah.
then my mom wanted me to come back to the UK, and at that point I wanted to, because I really
Mm,
did miss her. And then while I was in school here, I met up with a friend, became good buddies, and we formed a group. We were like the Jackson Two. We all were
okay.
doing our little
I like that.
movements, and we
Yeah.
had many names. We were called the Qualities, Sight and Sound. Every week we changed our name, and then
Yeah.
it was like one of those films where, because I'd always been writing since I was very, very young. I played violin,
Okay.
played piano, did voice.
Yeah.
Um, and we went into EMI actually in Manchester Square,
Yeah.
and because we have little cassette tape recorders and we do our little thing on them or what have you. And we met this guy called Roy Fisher. He was in the
Mm,
reception literally, and we
mm,
had so much gusto and so much bounce. And this is way, way, way before imagination. Years, years, years. We were still in school,
yeah.
and he just liked how we were and said, "Can you guys sing?" So
Mm,
yeah, so we just started singing right there in the lobby in EMI, and the whole place just went, "Wow, this is they'd never seen anyone doing that."
yeah.
And so then he signed us to his label, which was Snaz Records,
Mhm.
um, and he managed David Bowie's from Mars. They were the backing band for David Bowie, and David
Okay.
Bowie just split from them. And so everybody thought that the Spiders of Mars are the ones that are going to do it. So they
Yeah.
invested all in Spiders of Mars, and we came along at that same period of time.
Mm,
Um, and then we recorded some tracks. Get Up, one was called, which was produced by Del Newman, who then
yeah.
went on to work with Paul McCartney and Diana Ross and people like that. On background
Wow.
vocals, we had these singers called Thunder Thighs who did the backgrounds for Lou Reed's Walk on the Wild Side. And we
Okay.
were in Mayfair Studios in South Molton Street. So it was very, I had so many different experiences. There was an experience where even before we went to EMI, we were in
Yeah.
Eddie Grant's studio in Osbaldeston Road in
Right.
Stoke Newington. So we'd hang out there, and Eddie Grant would give us some advice. My sister used to know him
Yeah.
when I was young. She knew him because they were all part of the same scene circuit.
Yeah.
They were older. So I had so many different things I was doing. I was playing in a lot of bands. And I always talk about the roots of where I came from because that's very important. That's the fundamental thing, that layer that makes you as a person.
Yeah.
And I eventually I did acting. I did all sorts of different things. I was part of Anna Shear's acting group. But at the same
Mm.
time, my sister had a drama group called the Hugh Norris Strolling Players, which was like a lot of St. Lucians all joined together, creating
Okay.
different shows for charity,
Mm.
for the community. I was part of that. Victor Romero Evans was part of the Hugh Norris Strolling Players. Nat
Right.
Guthlin, who's in Light of the World, was part of that. So we
Yeah.
all played together and sang together and stuff. And did plays and musicals and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then I joined a band that was playing for one of our um, shows called the Hugh Norris.
Yeah.
They were called the Sun Valley Serenaders. They used to play down in Brixton at the George Canning pub. I was
Mm.
always proud of my little Thursday nights. Wednesday nights were the cool notes, Thursday nights was
Yeah.
us. And we then played all the bingo halls all over London or outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did all the working man's clubs and stuff. So I was learning my craft all the time because
Mm.
after being signed to EMI, nothing happening, and I just wanted to be the best I could, even at that
Mm.
point, because I knew there was better. I could see what was better in front
Yeah.
of me.
Yeah.
So I would sing everything: reggae, soul, funk, calypso, everything. I would be doing everything.
Okay.
There's one point where I was a singing waiter for 9 months in the West
Mm.
End. That was life changing for me. It was called
Mm.
Encore. And so I would literally be doing, I remember how I used to do this, I don't know, but I used to literally, um, on a Thursday, and then we had two gigs with some of our serenaders in Brixton at one point,
Mm.
and I was still working at Encore in the night.
Yeah.
I'd leave Brixton, jump on the train to Green Park or Bond Street, dash off, and go into my Encore uniform, which is this all in one black outfit,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
do these routines and these it was like we do like show tunes, but it was all choreographed. It was an American
Mm.
impresario, completely different world. Everybody had their
Yeah.
equity card. I was the only one that didn't have the equity card. I was there to get my equity card, and we
Yeah.
would do excerpts from all these different composers like Irving Berlin and Rogerson Hart
Mm.
and musicals, and it was a combustion of learning and getting all of it
Mm.
done. And the musical director would say, right, next week we're going to do da da da, and you had to learn all these songs, and then
Wow.
perform the choreography, and what we,
Yeah.
it was for me a real training ground. And then I go back
Yeah.
to Brixton and do my other sort of gigs. So I had such a diverse arena, and in between that,
Interesting.
I was recording. I was doing loads of
Yeah.
recording and learning the craft.
So.
I've never regretted that because these were fundamentally important in making me.
Mm. So what? You mentioned your dad being strict with you about your education. So what was his reaction to you getting into music? Because if it was anything like my parents, they didn't see that as a job, very
Well,
common.
in the Caribbean families, even Africa, I think black families, period, even Asian, I
Yeah.
should say, they don't look at it as a job. They never
Mm.
have, I don't think, because I think because of the legacy of what's happened to so many artists,
Yeah.
especially American artists
Yeah.
before. And I think that on a historical level,
Mm.
besides somebody like Michael Jackson becoming such worldwide phenomenal and all that kind
Yeah.
of that scenario, the 80s was groundbreaking for so many people. that I think people started to change, the ideals started to change. But prior to that, it was not a job that you go into, you know, and taken serious. So I had to learn every aspect: sing, dance, act, write, produce, everything. I was just pushed into that medium of learning everything. So if this doesn't work, that will work. You know, I was working part time as well. You know,
Mm.
I worked at St.
Oh, you was
Bartholomew's.
working part-time.
Oh yeah, I worked at St. Bartholomew's. I worked as an inland revenue. I trained there for a
Wow.
while. I was gigging in the nights.
Yeah,
I remember I had a Saturday job in Carnaby Street at
yeah.
Topless Shoes. I was gigging sometimes in the nights. Then after I'd done the gig, I'd dash off and we'd go to a party or something. Don't know where I got the energy from. And then I used to go to, in the daytimes, I'd be working full-time job, but in the evening, gigging.
Yeah,
And it was just, and we had no mobiles, you know,
yeah,
there was no Ubers,
yeah.
but we got
Thank
there.
you.
We got there. You know, it was always boom, 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 boom. And I think that's why with the lockdown situation, I've kind of readopted some of that sort of energy, some of that
Mm.
kind of way of thinking, like, you know, multitasking, let's do this, that, do that. I mean, my mother has been working in the community for many, many, many years. So I think probably I get a lot of how, you know, from what she does from her, you know. I'm a
Yeah,
person, I'm too busy getting on with it, you know, to
yeah,
get on with it. People distract you. People
yeah.
kind of you know, they take you off your game. Sometimes you just want to
Mm.
focus and do that. And or they're trying to dig into what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you're so focused doing it. And that's how I was. I was very much motivated in that
Mm.
way. It wasn't an ego situation. It was a situation of mastering your craft, getting it to a level, and being different, trying to be as unique as you can, and understanding the industry, especially when it came to being in Black Britain. There are
Mm.
certain types of male, certain types of females that get through
Mm.
in America or here. You know, there was always that scenario.
Mm.
Um, Even by the time I got signed by my A&R guy, who was Asian, by the way, he was an
Yeah.
A&R guy, Morgan Khan. He was really out there. He was really crazy, but fantastically crazy that he had the genius of saying, I want that from you. I want that craziness. I want that
Mm.
visual. You've got 3 minutes on TV. You've got to go bam.
Yeah.
They've got to be talking about you the next day.
Mm.
So you can maintain. And luckily it paid off in a sense.
Yeah.
But you know, I studied my craft. I also studied other musicians that I knew, like the World's Essential Lines. I knew all these guys.
Yeah.
I'd follow them and go to all their gigs, links and all that. We just, you know, we were all a big posse. You know, we used
Yeah.
to go to all the club scenes like Crackers and Bird's Nest, and you know, it was such a diverse thing of the reggae and the soul. But we all went
Yeah.
through all of these kind of scenarios. So, and I think because of this lockdown scenario, everybody's been talking about it, how
Yeah.
fun it was, and even the most silliest things that you know we used to enjoy that we
Mm.
don't have anymore.
That's
The most
right.
practical things we used to have. And actually, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were just saying, you know, even down to what was it, chalk ice, I think, and jubbly, and
Yeah.
and
Oh,
you
something.
know,
Yeah.
things like that, and you know, you
Yeah.
go and get your pear drops or your
Yeah.
pineapple chunks, and
Yeah.
some places do it now, but it's not. It's just not the same, you know. Um, I was talking. What was the thing? Oh yes, I remember. They used to have when I was very very young. They used to have Batman and the playing cards.
Yeah.
You know, you have
Yes,
the
I
bubble
remember.
gum, and you used to have the
Yeah.
cards. And if they
Yeah.
had a show, like it could be the Partridge Family or something like that. I don't know, the Osmonds, the Jacksons. They'd have
Yeah.
cards, and there'd be a bubble gum in it,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff like that. You know, the little fun cigarettes that have the
Yeah.
cards in it.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the things I remember about America, I was talking to this young lady about yesterday, was I remember I was into bazooka bubblegum. And I've
Yeah.
not thought
I
about
remember
that. I have not thought about that in years.
with
And
the little
I
comic.
collect, yeah, the little comic in there. And
Yeah.
I
I remember.
collected all these bazooka things, and then you can get a prize. And I
Yeah.
remember collecting all this stuff and sending off. And
Yeah.
I got some rubbish. I spent a year saving up all these little things to get
Yeah.
some rubbish, some plastic thing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I
They,
remember.
yeah,
Um,
bazooka bubblegum. It's those tiny little things, you know.
yeah. Did that there a lot of artists who, you know, describe their childhood similar to yours.
Mm,
Some of them, or most of them, have stayed in, let's say, one lane. If it's reggae, it's reggae. If it's soul, it's soul. But you did an eclectic amount
mm.
of music. Um, so would you pigeonhole yourself now? Would you say I'm a reggae artist or a soul artist? How would you describe the music that you produce?
I'm fundamentally a soul man, but I love reggae. I like
Yeah.
classical, certain pop things. I like some dance things.
Mm,
It's very eclectic. It really is
yeah.
because I listen to so much diversity, and in this platform, it lends itself to it. You know, like
Yeah.
I was just listening to Brenda Russell. Prior to that, I was listening to Natalie Cole.
Right.
Then I was listening to classical in the morning,
Yeah.
you know, and then I'll probably there's a reggae station. I'll probably listen to that, and then there's
Yeah.
a soul so it just depends on the mood. But
Yeah.
when I will sit down and write a song, it will most likely be either very soulful or very has a jazz inflection.
Yeah.
I tend to lean more to jazz and funk, and then we'll
Right.
smooth it out and sometimes put that kind of commercial thing into it.
Yeah.
I tend to I love jazz, and
Yeah.
I think that it's one of the things I've always listened to. I think more than anything, probably at the end of the day. And I did a jazz album in France, which went very well for me in Europe, in particular.
Mm,
And we then filmed a documentary on it, and that put me into the whole different mode of becoming a film producer, director, documentary person because I was pushed by a very good friend who said, "Look, you're going to be going to Rochefort to do something you've never done before,
yeah.
musicians, and you should film it." And at that
Yeah.
time, people were not really doing that per se. There
Mm,
was only a few. And then I was shown, I think Eric Clapton had done something and Sting had done something like that.
mm.
And they said, no, you have to document this. This is important, you know. Come on, Lee, what are you going to...
Yeah.
I said, yeah, but me getting up in the morning, no, that's not. And he said, no,
Yeah.
no, this is
Yeah.
important. People must see like this. And so I went completely a long way from my imagination, look, sound, days, whatever, and just really went underground. I mean, I think
Okay.
even through the 90s, after we had like a complete decade of hits with imagination,
Yeah.
we started in 81. In 88, 89, we had a top 5, top 10 album, Like It Is. And then we had
Yeah.
number one, Instinctual in America, which was a
Mm,
big dance record for David Morales, but it was
yeah.
my track. And so I got into working with a lot of DJs and working underground, and I became more underground than the Jubilee line. You know, it was like I was working with so many different Arthur Baker, Peter Rohrhofer, um, oh my lord, tons and tons, and I was writing a lot of things for a lot of
Yeah.
people, and I ended
Yeah.
up doing backgrounds on people's tracks. On a take that track on this track, and half of it I can't even remember.
Yeah.
Um, and then I thought, you know what really feels me, what really touches me. And I was doing a lot of stuff in France, and France is a huge territory. It's very much bigger than the UK. It touches Africa, it touches South America, the Benelux
Mm,
countries. So it's led me to these places,
yeah.
where I can see how other people live, how they adapt, how they
Mm,
embrace the music.
yeah.
And they've embraced imagination music, and then they've also embraced the other music that I've done.
Mm,
So it gave me a big landscape, and I had
yeah.
this opportunity. They said, look, whatever you want to do, let's just do it in Rochefort. Now, Rochefort was a town where they did a film called La Dame Mademoiselle de Rochefort, which in the 60s was a big film with
Right.
Catherine Deneuve. Gene Kelly had done, it was one of his last films. It was in French.
Right.
George Takaris, who was in West Side Story,
Yeah.
and it's all done in this small town. And if
Mm,
you look at this film, it was very innovative for its time,
yeah.
musically and visually, how they filmed it.
Right.
And you go to the town now, and it's exactly the same. They've got this fountain, water fountain, where people were dancing around. It's exactly the same.
Mm.
The mayor of the town invited me to where the office where they were tap dancing and stuff, and it's
Yeah.
the floor is exactly the same. And in the marketplace, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, have speakers and they play jazz music. And the studio I was recording was an old cinema, and they
Okay.
transformed that into a studio.
Mm.
And it was unique. And I stayed in these what I call little digs. They were like this little hotel right around the corner. Nothing special, nothing fancy. It was
Yeah.
just very cool. You know, the manager was very nice and everything. I could have stayed up the road to a more plush thing, but it
Yeah.
didn't fit into what this was all about, you know?
Yeah.
So in doing that, I embraced another section of myself as an artist and musician and writer and things like that.
Yeah.
I've always written all of the songs that we did Imagination. People take one or two, which
Mm.
I did collaborated with or something. But um, it was always a source of searching for um, new ideas, you know,
Yeah.
to step up the grade, to do this and do that.
Yeah.
And and that brought me into, as I said, when you asked me the question about what kind
Yeah.
of music I was into, that's how wide it's been. I mean,
Yeah.
2 years ago, I had a #1 reggae track with Police and Thieves,
Yeah. That's right.
which
Yeah.
you know, I thought this is quite fun. I did it with Dennis Bavell, and I've known Dennis for years, and
Yeah.
he's been trying to get me on a track for the longest. And every time
Yeah.
it's his there, da 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 da, and something that you know
Yeah.
it didn't happen. But even in my show, I do reggae. You know,
Yeah.
we have a
Okay.
reggae section in the show.
Yeah.
So I've always tried to show the audience, even though we have the imagination sound,
Mm.
within that sound, I've always tried to extend it so that it's more of a universal show that we have a bit of everything for everybody.
Mm. So you're an entertainer.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
what I came into the industry as an
Mm.
entertainer, an all-rounder. I mean, they
Yeah.
don't like to say that in the UK.
Yeah. Yeah.
They like you to be one thing, and that is it. You've got to be
Yeah.
like a book,
Yeah.
and I think that's crap. I think why can't you be a painter, a writer, a dancer? Why can't you be an you know create a creative energy? Not just be an artist. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
deal in the celebrity side of things. I did
Right.
the celebrity thing, I think, in the 80s when that was the only way for you to promote. You had to go out there
Yeah.
and sell, 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 sell. You know, we
Yeah.
were wacky, we were wild, we were outrageous to certain extents.
Mm.
But it was a way of, oh, if you do that, that's going to get your record in the chart. You know, be on that
Yeah.
show. You know, that was the time when you know
Yeah.
that you're on one show, people see you, they'll buy your record. That was the game at
Yeah.
that point
Yeah.
in time. So for me, I would go on shows and at that point as well, we broke a lot of doors with Imagination because they weren't putting a lot of black artists on a lot of shows until
Yeah.
we started to be pushed in at number 73 and we playing live and stuff. They didn't take the risk. And one of the things in the industry which a top A&R guy said to me was because Imagination went international, they
Yeah.
decided to take the risk and sign more artists.
Yeah.
And that's the truth because before you had
Yeah.
Lynx was before us Junior, like the World Central Line, they'd only get to a certain level and they'd stop and they'd move on.
Yeah.
They never took us seriously. So with us, we were pounding and pounding and pounding, but not just
Mm.
here. You go anywhere around the world and you still hear our music.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, you know, sometimes the industry here doesn't realize how much
Mm.
we fly the British flag around the world.
Yeah. Yeah. So did you way back then, I mean, in light of what's happening now
Mm.
worldwide, Black Lives Matter, did you experience racism in those days?
You know what? There's always been racism.
Mm.
I remember going back to the George Canning pub days. I had an interview not too long ago. I spoke of it, and I think when you're strong, determined, and you are, you know, you're seeing that anything that comes to hit you, you're going to bash it.
Yeah.
And what used to happen to me was, and everybody used to know me. We used to have these butchers, PAK, pack butchers, and in
Mm.
it I'd have a cassette tape recorder,
Yeah.
and all my cassettes and all my writing and everything. And I would have this bag with me everywhere I went. So I would be at Brixton Station,
Mm.
finish about 10:30, 11. I jump on the train, get to Finsbury Park, get out, walk down Stroud Green, go up Stroud Green Road towards Hornsey, and guaranteed there'd be the Black Mariah there to pick me up.
Yeah.
And I used to get stopped over and over and over and over and over. They searched my pockets to see if I had drugs. It became dodgems. It was a situation when I came out from the station, I'd look to see if they were there, and I'd start dodging up and down different streets just to get home. That
Wow.
that was the condition. But did I let it hold me back?
That was going to
No,
be my next question. Yeah.
I hated it. I didn't
Mm.
like it. A friend of mine, Alvin Alcock, he was a social worker in the community. So as I left the station, his house was there. Because it got to
Mm.
about the sixth or seventh time, and he said, "Look," because people were hearing about it, and I was complaining
Yeah.
to my mum. My mum was a police liaison officer at the time, and she was really
Okay.
annoyed about it. She was very annoyed, and she was based in Hornsey. So when kids were having problems, because at that time, I'd hear about it because the police would be phoning my mum's house saying, "Look, we've got a kid out of the station. They don't want to give their name or number or address or anything like that.
Yeah.
Can you come down?" So my mum would come down. And she would also get hostility from some of the police because they were saying, "Oh, they don't want you now. You can go back." And I
Mm.
went to her, and the sergeant at the desk would have done this, but the detective who called her would say, "Look, where are you? We were waiting for you." He said, "Well, the sergeant at the desk, tell me to go back." So she said, "If you want me to come, you better send a car, then I'll come and help this child out." But,
Yeah.
I heard a lot of that
Mm.
in the community. Me and my mate Leroy Logan, we'd be going out to a club. He's got his car, his Ford Capri. They'd stop us, So it became a regular thing. So I was brought up with all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we had to fight through it. The
Right.
struggle was we need to get through that door. We need to
Yeah.
be on that committee. We need to be part of the gatekeepers. We need to be the
Mm.
ones to make change. But if
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
focus too much on fighting this one on the left and fighting that one on the right, and then that's what they want you to do. They want you to be
Right.
distracted. So
Yeah.
therefore you can't get through. You're
Yeah.
completely getting all of that. And so psychologically, you're thinking, wow. But we had to just really be focused and try and push. It wasn't easy at all, but we just
Mm.
had to try and do it. And one time I felt heavy racism when I lived in Edgware,
Yeah.
and my neighbor didn't like blacks. She didn't like the Hasidic Jews that lived across the road. She'd be shouting
Mm.
from her window. And at this point, I'd become very successful. So I was temporarily in this place. I didn't really like it that much. So I thought, I don't know why I bought it, but I bought it. And
Mm.
so I'm not going to stay here that long. And she was, I mean, I've been around the world and didn't face the racism that I felt next door.
Yeah.
So there were moments like that.
Mm.
Um, I would say that, of a whole, especially in imagination, I think the music kind of encapsulated everybody. Everybody was like into, oh wow, imagination. It
Yeah.
turned
Yeah.
into a fantasy. So therefore, um, I didn't feel it as much because we were so, I think, strong in our whole demeanor, how we were.
Yeah.
Like, you're not messing with us, boom,
Yeah.
and that's it. It was that
Yeah.
kind of situation. So everybody wanted to love you. It's like
Yeah.
that, and everybody thought you were American. You know,
Yeah.
and that kind of situation. So they thought,
Yeah.
oh,
'Cause
I'm
you
not
had
messing
such a
with
big,
you.
yeah. You did.
So
Yeah.
it was all that kind of scenario. But as a kid, as I said, when I started gigging, the police
Mm-hmm.
were crazy. Those Black Mariahs were always on the corner somewhere, and I never forgot it because it's very scary. When
Yeah.
they stop the
Yeah.
car and they jump out, you think, uh oh. So my mom would tell me what to say, what to do, because you thought they're going to beat you up. Because a lot of them
Yeah.
did. They dragged you in and they straight away truncheons and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I just, after a while, they got to know me because
Yeah.
because I'm walking down Stroud Green Road because that was the quickest way to get home. But it was scary, when I had to dodge and go up different
yeah,
roads, But
yeah,
and a lot of people thought, well, how did you do it? And I just thought, I just had to motivate myself, and
yeah,
so that I didn't have to go through all the crap all the time. I thought,
mm,
you know what? And then, as I said, we go to clubs or we go out someplace, and if we're in the car, the first thing, if we saw a police car, we knew,
mm,
okay, if they're behind us, they're going to stop us. But we were
yeah,
not into, we weren't into smoking and all that kind of stuff.
mm,
That was not my team of people. We weren't into that, so we
yeah.
were quite lucky on that level.
So it's just basically the color of your skin.
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
know what? I'm proud of being black, and I think it's the color that everybody wants to be because they copy
yeah,
everything we do,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they've been doing it from day one. So the
yeah,
scenario is when you got something that's really good, everybody wants it.
yeah,
And that's it. And that was my
yeah,
way. It's not even a jealousy. I think it's that you're feeling hard done by because we're beautiful. So hey,
yeah,
and you've got to accept this beauty.
mm,
As Maya Angelou says, are you jealous of my beauty? You're jealous of my smile?
yeah,
Is this why? As opposed to being feeling downtrodden. And that's the
yeah,
scenario where even with the Black Lives Movement, um,
mm,
what's happened is an atrocity that should never happen, and it's been going on for a long time. And actually, I had conversations with my American cousins who said to me, I mean, my cousin in California works. He's got $1 million job, put it that way,
yeah,
and he's
yeah,
got $1 million car, and he's like,
mm,
you know, and he's been stopped and a gun put in his head, get out of
oh,
the car, yeah. And this is a you know you say, well, he's Mr. Hollywood. If you see him, you think,
yeah,
well,
yeah,
but and it's because of color in the States. It's a very different situation to here.
yeah,
A very different situation. We live in a rainbow community,
yeah,
especially in London. It's a rainbow community. You go out there and it's very diverse.
yeah, yeah,
It's not as it was in my day, where you
yeah,
definitely had blacks right here, Greeks are right here. But
yeah,
having said that, I went to a primary school, Gillespie, which was one of the first multiracial schools in North London.
yeah,
And you had Nigerians, Ghanaians, Greek, Portuguese, every. It was
mm,
very, very mixed. So,
mm,
and I had that as a primary school, and in the area, it was very, very mixed. It always
mm,
was a mixture of situated people there. It was just that when I went to the States, the difference was I saw people of color in power,
yeah,
teachers and lawyers and doctors. Well, really making decisions. While in the UK,
yeah,
I didn't see that.
mm,
So that made me want to aspire, and I think that gave me the injection to be bigger than what you can ever dream. You have to have
yeah,
these dreams, and
yeah,
that you inspire other people to as well, that they
yeah,
can do it.
yeah,
And I think that's important because there's this sort of slave mentality
yeah,
way of thinking,
yeah,
which I was reading, someone was talking about it recently and saying that when black people are encouraging their children, it's in a way where it's brought down from slavery, where they're
yeah,
not exactly saying you're good, but they're not really encouraging you the same
no,
way they should. They said, of course you
yeah,
should be good. Yes, all right, yes, okay. And the father figures, the mother figures, there's always this division of um, whether they should praise their children or
mhm,
and you find there have been groups of us that did not get that encouragement, so
no,
you've had to do it yourself, and
yeah,
then think, and then they're passing it on to their children
yeah,
the same way,
yeah,
so therefore, oh, you just disappeared.
yeah, my battery's low. Okay,
uh,
carry on. I'll just put the
yeah,
charger.
so I
Yeah,
think that music has been one of those things where it's an escape, but it's also something personal to each and every one of us.
yeah,
Um, I listen to so many different pieces of music, as I said before, and I always get inspired by
mm,
other people as well. And live shows, that was one of the things. Being an entertainer, I just soaked up so many live performances. I remember, especially in the late 70s, early 80s, so many artists were coming over from to the
Yeah.
UK. So many. And it was, we were all going out together to see these shows. You know, there was a place
Oh,
called
wow.
The Venue in Victoria, I remember.
Mm.
And funny enough, the guy that ran it, I'm working with him now on a project, actually my flashback project. Um,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing. He said, I ran the venue. It was me. I said, really? I said, no. I said, oh, God, I saw Lee Retner, I saw Spyro Gyra, I saw Marvin Gaye, I saw Patti LaBelle,
Mm.
on and on and on and on. And it had everything there. You could eat, you could dance, you could watch the show,
Yeah.
a bit of everything there now, you know. And one of the things I just mentioned, flashback,
Yeah.
um, after doing my jazz album, I became involved heavily with producing it and editing it,
Right.
and the behind the scenes of really understanding film, documentary, and
Mm.
especially if you're the main thing. Because I always look
Yeah.
at myself as um, not the first person, but the last person sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, even if I'm editing myself, I don't look at me as me. I look at what someone else is going to see. So I'm
That's right.
very critical on it,
Yeah.
to the point I don't always throw myself out there as much
Yeah.
as people think. You know, they think, oh, you've got it, da-da. And I will step back more than be the lead. I've done all that,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm.
So, but it seems people still feel, yeah, you should be still doing that. And it's like, as it's a lot of energy. And sometimes I
Yeah.
just want to just lay back, you know.
Yeah.
But in this period of time, sometimes you have to be the leader. And
That's
you've got to
right.
really be pushing it and pushing it and pushing it
Mm.
so that others can get through, you know. And my motto is, if I get through the door, then others will come through with me.
Yeah.
And that's what I used to do, especially when Imagination broke. As soon as I
Mm.
came through, I'd say, let them come through too, you know.
Yeah.
Somebody on a support or what have you, you know. It's important we keep that wheel turning. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, not a lot of people have that mentality because
No.
and
No.
we've got it
No.
right now, and you know, and we're in reality television time where people are just, you know, they want to be celebrities for the sake of being celebrities. They don't know what they do. No one's got any idea what they do, but they're there. So,
Yeah.
so that's got me into filming documentaries. I started with SOS Children on the show, which I'm a patron
Yeah.
for.
That's what I was going to ask you about the documentaries. How did that come about? Yeah.
Well, it started with Feel My Soul because we did Feel My Soul, and
Mm.
then I just started asking the questions about charities. I was involved with one charity and I was paying
Mm.
them from my bank account every month and not seeing anything from it.
Mm.
So we found out that something was a bit dodgy about the charity. So um, I got this offer to go to South Africa and see a children's village, orphan village in South Africa, which is SOS. And
Right.
I said, you know what? I don't trust any of you charities anymore. I need to find out exactly what's going on. So I'm going
Yeah.
to bring a camera crew. And they said, yes, that'd
Right.
be fantastic. And I said, because a lot of the times we're in the UK, you're
Mm.
part of a charity, but you don't know where the money goes.
No.
You have no idea. Da, da, da,
Yeah.
da. So they said, well, if you can raise the air flight and accommodation and get sponsors for this trip, then yeah. And I did. British Airways sponsored me. I found somebody who had a
Yeah.
hotel, and I just pushed and pushed and pushed,
Mm.
and got a crew down there, and we went, and that was my first documentary of SOS Children. And then we did one in Zambia, we did
Yeah.
one in Tunisia, just after the shooting on the beach there.
Mm.
And it just gave me so much more insight because through
Yeah.
the music, everybody obviously knew Imagination's music, but what it did was
Yeah.
it gave me a doorway to actually see how people live in the shanty towns
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Soweto. Well, Soweto's changed now, but in other
Mm.
areas of South Africa or Zambia. I've been to Eritrea, I've been to Angola, I've been to Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire
Wow.
was an experience there.
Yeah.
And you know, you're seeing real Africa. I mean, I've only been to Nigeria for the first time, was it 3 years ago?
Yeah.
I was invited to the Fela Kuti festival to perform with his son,
Right.
and so I saw Nigeria for the first time. But it's very built up. It's there's
Yeah.
there's it's there's money there.
Mm.
Very different. But Africa on a whole is so strong, it's so rich. When you take the earth, the soil of Angola, the soil of
Mm.
South Africa, you can feel the minerals,
Yeah.
you know, and you can see, wow, there's money there, you know.
Yeah.
Cote
Yeah.
d'Ivoire, you can smell the oil.
Wow.
You can smell the oil. But there's still poverty, there's still
Yeah.
corruption, political corruption,
Yeah.
and you're seeing it for yourself. And that's
Yeah.
what was important for me to see.
Yeah.
Because I love Europe, because I think Europe has, I love the art of Europe, I love the fashion of Europe,
Right.
I love all of that.
Hmm.
So it was great to see that side. America, I've seen.
Yeah.
And for me, America copies a lot of what we do.
Yeah.
I think a lot, I
Well,
love
America
America.
copies the
Sorry?
UK. America copies the UK.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the other way round.
We copy the bad things in America.
Right.
I think hip hop, R&B, and rap um, traditionally come from America on that
Right.
level of me on the music side.
Mm.
But we've got the Caribbean roots that
Hmm.
our bass is stronger. When they're gonna lash it down, we're gonna lash it down stronger.
Right.
They have, they've got this bad fashion sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like some of the stuff they do, but
Mm.
I find we have a little bit more of a quality. There's,
Yeah.
especially the men's suits, we're more tapered and, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
they'll use polyester or something.
Yeah.
But I've learned a lot from America over the years, especially musically and how the
Mm.
business operates. And
Right.
when it comes to black business, but at the same time, it's like this for me. I'd
Yeah.
work there. I love working there, but not to live there
Right. You
because
prefer to live in the UK
yeah, or Europe.
mm.
Europe. I've
or
got
Europe?
places
Yeah. Yeah.
outside of it, but I find that I don't like like it was like reality television was fun to start with when you used to watch Jerry Springer, and
Yeah.
then when they first started, and then you then have Oprah, and then it completely changed when you had the Housewives of
Yeah.
Atlanta,
Yeah.
and it's quite fun to watch at first, but after a while you're thinking, hold on a second, they're looking at us like they're looking into a zoo, and we're
Yeah.
becoming a
Yeah.
stereotype of
Yeah.
something. They're
Hmm.
looking at us and they're feeling this is how we all are. And
Yeah.
that's what I thought. I started to think, well, no, it was fine for a
Yeah.
minute, but then it's a repetition, and you're just watching
Yeah.
all these people in cages, which they call
Yeah.
on TV.
But this is sorry to interrupt, but this is why I wanted to go back to your documentaries because as we see on the adverts on TV, it's these malnourished children, flies are on their faces, it's really dirty and dusty, and they're just poor.
Mm.
Um, and sometimes I'm concerned that that's how Africa is just depicted all the time, all across. This is Africa. Is it a narrative that has been perpetuated, or did you see, as you said, is it a balance? Is
In
there a balance?
Africa itself,
Yeah.
in some countries, for example, in Angola,
Yeah.
I just came back from Mozambique. I was in Mozambique in
Okay.
March. Yeah, I was in South Africa, and Mozambique. Mozambique, I could see there was poverty.
Yeah.
Then I can also see wealth. So it's like you're either very poor or very rich, or in
Right.
between, just a tiny in between.
Right.
Um, Sometimes you see people on the streets, not always, depending on where you're going. But
Mm.
um, even with people that don't have money, they seem to be happy.
Yeah.
There seems to still be that happiness. I felt that in Mozambique. In South
Mm.
Africa, definitely. Even though, I mean, it's amazing that when I was in Soweto 3 4 years ago now, I think it was.
Right.
And as the last time I'd seen Winnie Mandela, because she'd invited
Mm.
me to her grandson's party, and Soweto's changed drastically. From when I went in the '90s, I was there in the '90s.
Yeah.
So I've seen the change, the development over a period of time. And when you talk about America again, you find the American influence comes across all the commercial things.
Mm.
America gives you Coca-Cola, but in various different guises.
Yeah.
It will sell you and sell you and sell you, and everybody's following this sort of thing, this sort of
Yeah. Yeah.
not actually understanding that you have your own.
That's right.
So I'm not putting America down, but you can actually see now with this pandemic the
Yeah.
mentality, why people are voting for Trump, why everything is going this way. Because you know, if he's going to get in again, then you guys are real stupid. You know,
Yeah.
really
Yeah. I
dumb.
agree.
You
I
were
agree.
dumb the first time around. Now you're dumb again.
Yeah.
So it's and those are the kind of reasons why I feel to myself, why do I want to live in a country where it's too fake?
Yeah.
It's just too
Yeah.
fake, you know.
Yeah.
And I've got family there, you know,
Yeah.
and
That you live
they're
there.
frustrating. No, 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 no.
Mm.
I could never, never. It's it looks like it could be the place to go to. A lot of people can think, oh yeah. I mean, I know some artists that, oh yeah, yeah, let's go to LA, but LA can also be a misconception.
Mm. Yeah. So um,
You talking about my
I'm getting
film?
to I'm getting to realize that you're philosophical.
Am
You're quite
I?
philosophical in your outlook and quite encouraging as well. Um, where does that come from? Where you know that you said it before we started the meeting. You have this. You like to encourage others. You like to put that energy out there, that
Yeah.
positive energy. Um, where does that come from?
Well, I think it's a combination of my family and my friends. I think
Mm,
we all encouraged each other.
yeah,
And I like to make it, you know, straightforward and say, for example, when I went to Highbury Grove, there were about 10, 12, 15 black guys from our school that all did
yeah,
well, that did extremely well. And
mm,
I've gone on the radio and I've said it, you know, I've
mm,
gone on certain TV shows and I've said it because why? They don't say it. You only
yeah,
hear about the kids that went this, the other. It's all negative. But you will hear about, oh, he went to Cambridge, he went to Oxford, he went to this, da 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 da, you know. But you don't hear about when I was in secondary school. These guys, they're all black. They did
mm,
well. They did very well. This one has a business. This one's, and they all did. One of my
yeah,
best mates was a plugger for Sony, and worked all these different artists,
mm,
famous. Even Michael Jackson, he did stuff for. Another of my friend, he's a import export guy. He sells stuff from Jamaica to here, and he's doing amazingly. Leroy Logan, my best mates. I'm godfather to his
mm,
son. You see him on TV all the time. He's writing a book. There's Steve McQueen's doing this film thing, and he's someone's playing him, someone's playing
yeah,
me. It's going to be out later on this year,
yeah.
and
That's
so
good.
I can go on and on and on. Norman
Mm,
Howard, doctor, another guy we knew. So it's you know, you never hear these stories, and for
no,
me, that's why when I started doing documentaries, I wanted to tell stories that even if it's 2 minutes, like I did the Police and Thieves
yeah,
incentive, um, I'd done the record, and at that time the knife crime was just crazy, you know. And I'm
mm,
thinking the elders need to have a voice to say something.
yeah,
So I just took advantage and said, right, let me go out there and see who I know, and let me interview them.
mm,
Ended up with an ex-gang leader, ex-policeman, um, um, females who are black and in business, which I thought
mm-hmm,
was empowering that side. Because for me, even with my other project, Flashback, History of UK Black Music,
yeah,
I've been working on for the last 9 years, now 10 years, and now
yeah,
finally we're getting to the area I want. We've got over 100 interviews, over 600, 700 hours. And it's taken me years to get this together, to shape it the way I want it. And
yeah,
now we
yeah,
still have to add things to it. But my belief says, you know, we can do it. And don't rush your black experience. Don't rush it because they're saying da 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 da. Only, okay, technical things you need to try and get together. But
yeah,
get the history right so that
yeah,
everybody can see it and it's there for the world internationally. I
yeah,
mean, and I could have sold it down the Swanee to the BBC or to Sky Ask anytime, and I said no. Even last week, I got an offer saying,
all
well,
right,
it could be for that, and I said no, I want it international. So for us to do it, I have to remodify a few things. And I
yeah,
said, yeah, I don't mind doing it. I'll do anything to remodify it to give it that, to get it out there.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
cannot just be confined to 11 o'clock on BBC4,
No.
or just for Black
Exactly.
History Month.
Yeah.
I'm Black every day. I don't need to just be there for a month,
That's
And so
right.
the kids need to know who sang this in 1970 or 71, or Eddie Grant, the equals of at Samuel College Taylor, in the turn of the century, has an
Yeah.
anthem that Hiawatha, the song of Hiawatha that, America embraces, and they sing in chorals and stuff like that. They
Yeah.
don't know any of that.
No.
Who is Five Star? Who is
Yeah. Oh, gosh,
Carl
that's a
Douglas
blast of
of
the past.
yeah, exactly, Kung Fu
Mm.
Fighting. Who is that? I can go through the whole situation. Um, there's so many diverse people we have in Flashback that
Yeah.
created a global reach of music.
Yeah.
Um, to be honest, I stayed back, and they now want me to go a little bit more forward because I
Yeah.
stayed back. So they said,
Mm.
well, we better use what you've got. And I said, well, and I said, it's about everyone else. I don't want to be crowded by the
Yeah.
imagination theme. Because I said, there's so many other people who've done so
Mm.
great, over a period of
Mm.
time, but we're only interested in who's happening now, which is
Yeah.
great. Stormzy's doing what he's doing, but that's
Mm.
one genre. There are other genres. And that's why my feeling is we live in a rainbow community, and also we are a rainbow people, and we do
Yeah.
rainbow music. We have so many
Right.
different areas of our music. Why are we all going in one door trying to get through? Because the
Yeah.
media is pushing us in that direction, and that's
Yeah.
all we do. But then they do an award ceremony, and you won't see you see what's the latest thing. If it's not drum and bass for a moment,
Mm.
it's drill. They're now
Yeah.
saying on the radio, okay, we're now doing drill. That's the in thing. But
Yeah.
then
Or
I'm thinking, what
grind.
about jazz?
Yeah.
What about gospel music? What
Yeah.
about reggae music, which really got
Mm.
established here, even though it came originally from Jamaica, got really
That's
established
right.
and promoted here, and then reached
Mm.
out to the world? Why
Yeah.
is that always separate? Why can't
Mm.
that be always in the award ceremonies?
Mm.
Like in America, you go to them, and their award ceremonies go on for hours because they give it to
Yeah.
every different minority, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and that is the issue, and that's one of the things I've had been promoting and saying. That's why I did Flashback. So it's taken me time, and you can't
Yeah.
get everybody, but
Yeah.
I try and get as many people as I have, and then that's the other thing with our people sometimes is they don't see the significance sometimes of what they
No.
should be a part
No.
of,
Mm.
you know.
Mm.
So therefore, you have that internal issue as well. And I would tell them straight, I'd say, look, you need to be a part of this. Come on, this is your
Yeah.
legacy.
Yeah.
So and so I started doing that. I did the Police and Thieves. I started doing Flashback way before, and I thought, oh my God, I'm jumping off the board into the ocean. But
Yeah.
I just kept on, and and it's interesting because then I learn about everybody else
Yeah.
and what their thoughts are all about.
Mm.
And so many people. I mean, I interviewed Ty, who recently passed, and Flo.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. I've got some very, very interesting. Labi Sifri, who's
Mm.
Eminem sang on his things. Dr. Dre's used his samples.
Yeah.
It's so wide, and that once you see that, you think, wow, it
Yeah.
doesn't just start with My Boy Lollipop with Millie Small and Desmond Dekker. There's so many
Mm.
other
Yeah.
things that were happening at the same time, and people
Yeah.
contributed. So I've just tried to fit everyone in as much
Yeah.
as I can for Flashback. So, and
It's,
then at the
it's
same time, I've been recording.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, because you got a few things coming up, haven't you?
mm, I,
Especially in 2021, hopefully.
yeah,
So
we
can you
have
talk to me about that? Yeah.
the 40 Years of Imagination, which is definitely coming out in 2021, and
Yeah.
that's a lot of work. Oh my goodness! So we'll see what happens with that. We've got
Yeah.
deals and things going on with that. I have a
Mhm.
very, very big project which is 50% done with an
Mhm.
artist I can't name because I'm signed. I just signed the deal last week, so I can't
Okay.
say who, but it's going to be very, very interesting and very
Yeah.
diverse, very different. But
Yeah.
this artist has just a very big audience, and it's interesting. But then I
Right.
have got another a DJ called T-Love, who've got a track called Horizon, which is very 21st century. It's very today. It's
Yeah.
dance track, but it's got the lyrics and the melody, and it has the essence of what I sounded like in imagination, the way the approach I'm doing it, but it's quite uplifting. And then there's a French Belgium artist called Plastic Bertrand, who's he was very big in the late 70s, 80s, but everybody knows him in France and Belgium. We've done a track called Don't Stop, which I wrote, and that's quite a positive message song. And I think that's supposed to be out in September, I think it's going to be.
Right.
Yes. And then I've just one more track to do for this album, a smooth jazz album that I started, I don't know how many years ago, with Bill Sharp from Shack Attack.
Okay.
And it's sounding really cool. It's really, really cool. It's just how, as we feel it, we do it. And put that together. And then I've also done something for a French promoter who's very kind of has a blues effect. So I'm kind of between gospel and blues on something.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to be doing an acoustic imagination album.
Okay.
So that was going to be part of a live situation, but that was supposed to have been in June.
Right.
The corona, everything got changed.
Yeah.
I'm still deciding how I do it, how I approach
it,
because we want to do a few shows acoustically. So I'm still speaking with some of the agents to go into some of the venues, and I'm doing like a very small cut down version, very acoustically, and more the music side of things, vocal and music side of stuff. So yeah.
So I'm just listening to you and wondering, where do you get, first of all, the time, and where do you get the energy from?
I get up early, as you see, in the morning, and I have my mantras that I do. And I just felt through this lockdown period, don't waste any time, but keep it strict. So keep it, say, 10 till 6, 10 till 7. Let's just keep that as a work mode that you're going to get something done. And if you keep that momentum, then you find how quick the time goes.
Right.
You know, how quick the time goes. And even a bit, I try and say, okay, the weekends, I need to keep it free. But I ended up doing a little bit on the weekend. So if I did that on the weekend, I thought, okay, I can afford to. Like yesterday when I went out, and someone said, look, you've got this track, because I've got another track with a Brazilian singer from the Retropia album that I did, Solitude. And a friend of mine, brother Nick, he did a remix of Solitude. And I said, well, it sounds okay, it sounds really cool, and we are in solitude, but I want something different on it.
Yeah.
So I managed to get a singer called Jorge Vitello. He's a two-time Grammy Award winning artist in Latin America. And so he's singing on it as well. So he's in South America and I'm here. So speaking to another creative friend of mine, Mark Anthony, he says, you know what, you need to get some images. You need some other images. You know, you always got the clothes and this and that, but I want, you know, like you like this. So my hat and my tracksuit and stuff. He said, let's get you like this. So I said, okay. So we went down and we did some filming. So I was working yesterday, even though, you know, I'm thinking, I'm bloody working. You know, so it's got me singing and he's taking pictures. But you know what? I'm glad that I can still be doing something.
Yeah.
And I think that keeps you healthy. And my mom's the same way, because she's been in charge of the Afro-Caribbean Center in Turnpike Lane. I don't know if you know. She's been there, she's MBE, she's been there, she's on the lease with Bernie Grant.
Yeah.
So she's been trying to maintain that, and she's been secretary of the St. Lucian Association since 1968. So I think I've been surrounded by quite a lot of the community, more than people know. You know, they think I live a champagne lifestyle. Yes, I do. You travel the world. Yes, I do. But there's also, when you come home, you are home. You're grounded. You know.
Yeah, you're grounded.
Yeah. The moment I came through the door, my sister used to say, well, you know, because you come in there now, you can't do it. Get me a cup of tea. You know, that's it. That was
Well,
it. Make a cup of tea, and
yeah,
I'm hungry. You're not going to cook something, because I didn't grow up in a lazy household, so it
yeah,
was just being proactive. Even
mm,
my sister, she passed a couple of years ago, but she was very um, inspiring and very motivating.
yeah,
She was very okay. You want to do music, but you can still do your music. You can still record. You can still do your gigs, but you need to have something to fall back on.
yeah,
And then, he says, but you have skills and you don't realize
right,
how much skills you do have. And
mm,
she was great because my first job, I was with the revenue and I was making all this money. I thought, oh my
yeah,
God, I was really making all this money. And I then started to temp because I started to do so much more music work. I started
yeah,
to temp, I remember. Those days of temping, the employment
yes,
agency. And
yes,
I was with a theatrical one. It was connected to Rand, and they had Reed Employment and Alfred Marks,
yes,
and
right, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've worked with them. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, it was all
yeah,
that. And
yeah,
I got to know quite a few people, and one of my friends used to also be with one of them, and get me, like 3 hours here, 4 hours there,
yeah,
and it got to a point where I never forget this. Just before we broke with Body Talk, I got offered a temp job with this. I think it was Cell Trust. It was
mm,
a. It was for. It was a company based here, but they had people from the Middle East,
yeah,
contractors and stuff like that.
right,
You had to get as many people to work there, and I became quite good at it. So I was
yeah,
making so much money because it was like, wow, I had enough
yeah,
money saved up
yeah,
working, more than I was doing my gigs.
yeah,
So it was a scenario where it was like, were you going to sign to this label? Is it going to really happen, or do you stay with the job?
yeah.
It was
Oh,
that I had that kind of, and in my life, I think I always have that. There's always
yeah,
those choices.
yeah,
So it's like I'm always jumping off the cliff, you know,
yeah,
taking the
yeah,
risk, and
yeah.
obviously it paid off. But I
It
just
did.
remember that
Yeah,
I had that choice of staying in this job and just making a lot of money, and that's why I think money's never been my motivation
mm,
in the business,
yeah,
which is not always a good thing to say to some of the up and coming guys. They're more like, oh, do you make any money out of this? Da, da, da. No,
mm,
you don't.
you
You know,
know.
you don't. You
But
start
that is
with, you don't. But if you
that.
invest in yourself, you will get it back.
Yeah. No, that is the question I was going to ask you. You know, you are a legend. You are, you've done all this work, and there are those who are up and coming and those who are starting out. What advice would you give them? I know you've been obviously artists before, but what would you
Well,
give?
I asked that. I went in flashback. I tend to ask everybody that question myself.
Yeah.
Well, you have to be yourself, number one, but
Mm,
the most important thing is education.
right.
Read as much as you can. There was a 12-year-old we were talking to yesterday, and we were saying to him, you got to read. We were saying to him, Charles Dickens? And he said, Charles Dickens, was that? I thought, oh.
Uh-oh.
I said, oh. I said, there are other writers as well. We can
Yeah.
talk about this, like Maya Angelou or something like that.
Yeah.
There's so many different people that you can
Mm,
be reading, and reading can be fun. As
mm,
opposed to 10 minutes later, he was there playing with his machine.
yeah.
I said, that's 1 hour you could have been reading,
Mm,
you know. And he goes, yeah, it's Sunday's day up. I said, reading can be fun.
yeah.
So, but it's one of my advice is to, if you don't believe in yourself, others will never believe in you.
Okay.
And you must let every moment count
Right.
and make something of that moment.
Mm,
And do not be afraid of failure, because
yeah.
failure makes you. And it's
Yeah.
better to have more downs than the ups. And the fact is,
Mm,
I've been in bad situations, and then when I embrace that bad situation, it turns around and it becomes better.
yeah.
You're learning from that situation,
Right.
because it can't just, everything just can't be all doom and gloom. There's got to
No.
be something turning around. So therefore you think, okay, this is as low as I can go. How can we
Mm,
turn it around now? This must be a left or a right.
yeah.
You know? And
So,
it's very, very hard in this situation where the
yeah.
unemployment is on the rise you have a pandemic. Everybody's going crazy. They don't trust the government. They don't trust the prime minister. They don't, it's kind of crazy to keep your sanity.
Yeah.
But I do a Zoom thing on a Sunday with friends
Mm.
from all around the world. So I'm hearing from friends in Germany, friends in Belgium, friends in America,
Yeah.
friends in Abu Dhabi, and
Yeah.
here. So we all kind of link up. So it's great to hear everyone, because otherwise you're just listening to us on the news. And a friend
Yeah.
of mine works on a newspaper in Abu Dhabi, so he hears behind the scenes what's also going on. So
Yeah.
it's just feeding the right information. And I think for up and coming kids, especially, the secrets to success are all in the past. They're all in the
Right.
history books. The secret to success. Because if I didn't study Motown or studied about Count Basie and Duke Ellington and
Yeah.
Justin
Yeah.
Bieber and all these wonderful artists, even though they're American, because I didn't know anyone outside of that.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
didn't study them, um, I wouldn't be here to then pass on something.
Yeah.
And when I first, the same period when I was offered this job, to stay in this job, and earn all this money, I was writing with a guy, a song, "Don't Let the World Upset Your Mind." I remember, and he said to me, he said, "You have something there." And he said, "But
Mm.
remember, when you get there, and you will get there, because I can see you're going to get there, make sure you carry on the flame to somebody else.
Yeah.
Keep the line going. I don't
Mm.
always have to be up front. Let somebody else take that lead,
Yeah.
but you have to give them the advice. You've got to educate them. And unfortunately, a lot of some of the people coming up don't always want to take the advice
No.
because
No.
everything is on the mobile. So they think, well, my mobile's telling me it, so why
Yeah.
should I listen to you?
Yeah.
And that's because they have not been educated with the history of anything, the history of black music. They've only
Agree.
seen, and they're only seeing one model type.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's where my journey starts now, where I'm trying to push everyone to say, look, we are diverse. We're a rainbow tribe.
Mm.
So that is important. We come from the Caribbean, Africa, Asia. We have so many
Yeah.
mixtures of colors. It's great. When our parents came in the 50s and stuff, that's what they saw in us.
Yeah.
Color, flavor,
Yeah.
attitude, our
Yeah.
food, and that
Yeah.
so should be celebrated. And that's why I'm
Yeah.
doing the flashback. It's a celebration because I was fed up
Yeah.
with being part of certain documentaries where it was always negative. Their comparison to the Americans, and it was always like bringing us down.
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. Let us celebrate.
Yeah.
And I got inspired by this. It was a documentary. I think it was in the 80s, mid 80s or mid 90s. It was called Brown Sugar, and
Yeah.
it was Billy D. Williams talking about all these famous black women
Mm.
in history, in the
Mm.
entertainment industry, from Aretha Franklin to Diana Ross to Josephine Baker to Ella
Mm.
Fitzgerald to whomever. And it was just Dorothy Dandridge. It was like you just watched it and you felt happy, you felt good, you felt wow.
Yeah.
You had that wow, this is really great. And that's what I
Yeah.
wanted to do with Flashback. I saw this
Yeah.
wow thing. I thought, we got to lash them, bam, bam, bam. And that's
Yeah.
how I felt,
Yeah.
in your face. Look at this,
Yeah.
look at that, look at that, look at that, look
Yeah.
at that. You see
Yeah.
that? And that to me is important because, they're just, everybody's of the now. It's so quick. I've got people, friends in the industry now, and they send me a track or they send me something and they say, hey, this is happening. Really. I say, oh, yes, yes, okay. And then next week, something else. Oh, look at this one. I said, we sent me a thing last week. Oh, yeah, it was happening, but you saw what it was like. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like you're listening to computer game music, no melody, just loads of bleeps, blobs, and beat.
Mm. So you're saying basically that if you're doing something, make it count, make it something of
Yeah,
substance.
as I said, let every
Yeah.
moment count. Because the fact
Mm.
is, you don't know how long you're here for. Do as
No.
much as you can. So, and I do get tired. I do get that blankness. So when that
Yeah.
happens, I have to stop for a bit.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
need to stop. I need to discuss or just
And read.
close and
Yeah.
regenerate,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
and with Flashback, it's given me such a great platform
Platform,
to meet so many people and
yeah.
also to actually understand their plights, what
Yeah,
they went through, and how it's affected them.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so much so that I've done so much work that
Mm,
imagination seems so small compared to some of these other people.
yeah.
It's only when I start doing my live shows and
Mm,
going out there and become Mr. Imagination. It's like I turn around like like a superhero, and then I become Leee John. That all of a sudden
yeah,
I feel, oh wow, the contribution of imagination,
yeah,
and the music and online. I hear people go, oh my God, you remember this? What it meant to them.
yeah.
That was one of the things that um, it was very hard for me to understand. And then I had to
Mm,
think, well, think of how what you like and how it affects you. And
yeah.
your music has done that to other people.
Mm,
And I'm going, wow, wow, has it? Oh my goodness. And then all of a sudden you think it's just, I still, it's like, it's all still, I still get excited that people
yeah,
still remember and still generally like the music. I'm thinking, wow, and when did that performance and that, I
yeah,
think,
yeah,
wow, it's like, it actually makes me feel young again, in a sense. It gives
yeah,
me that injection. Oh, they really like that. I wrote that
yeah,
here, da, 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 we were doing this. We had a crazy time doing changes or something like this.
yeah.
And that was great. I mean, it was funny. There have been some American artists who've been influenced by what Imagination did. Lady Gaga's people told me they
Mm,
copied some of the outfits, the wacky outfits we had, the one-legged things. They got their
yeah.
dancers in that. Sister Sisters, he told me that they were looking for new images. So he was
Mm,
in LA in the studio and watching video after video of us. And
mm,
I thought, oh my goodness. And these are white groups, I'm saying.
yeah,
So they're always taking. See,
yeah.
they take it. Well, we're putting it down and giving it the thumbs down. They're
Yeah.
taking it and making more money out of it than we are.
That's
So
right. That
that's
is
why it
very, very
has to
true.
stop. That's why it has to stop. You've got to embrace everyone and everything of what they're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
And that to me is the essence of it all.
Well, Lee, I have enjoyed this interview. It's been so informative, and thank you for sparing the time. But just before you go, I'd just like you to leave last words for the Black community at large in the current climate. What would
Mm.
you, or what would, if you had the chance for everyone to hear what you had to say, what would you say?
For everyone in this period of time, we need
Mm,
to remember each other. I think
mm,
we need to remember each other as people, as human
mm,
beings. We need to remember the children coming up behind us
yeah,
and what's the legacy we are going to give them.
yeah,
And it is a flight, it's a plight, it's a fight.
mm,
Everything in life is a fight. But we have to show more unity. There's a lot, and I always say I have another motto. I have these little mottos: unity
yeah,
and community.
yeah. I
Unity and
like that.
community. That
Yeah,
is so important. Unity in the
yeah,
community is
yeah,
what's needed
yeah.
strongly because, as I said, we're a rainbow tribe of people here on this
Mm,
earth, in this
mm,
town, in this city, next door to you. So we have to be more united.
that's right.
And people who have knowledge keep trying to educate everyone. We've got to keep the line moving. We've got to
Yeah,
educate. Everyone counts. Everyone
yeah,
has some knowledge, a bit of history that is important and counts. And that's why
yeah,
people are frustrated because they're only finding out, oh, did you know this person did that? This black person did this, da, da, da,
yeah,
because it's all being compressed and put
yeah,
down. So
yeah.
the best way to do it with elegance, honor, and class and dignity, and say, you know what? I have a story, and I'm telling you right now, right here in my hand. This
That's
is my
right.
story right here. And
That's
what? You
right.
can't put me down? No, 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 no. My hand's open right here. No, 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 no.
Mm,
You can't move my hand because it's solid.
yeah, I like that.
You
That's
can't move
lovely.
your hand because it's
I
solid.
like community, unity in
Unity
the
in the
community.
community.
I like that. That's
That's it.
something I'm going to keep in my head. Thank you
Please.
very much for your time.
No problem.
And
So I've got your email. Can you? Are you? I'm recording this,
yeah,
so I can send it to you.
yeah, and then
Okay.
I will share it to the world.
Please take care.
Okay.
All right.
Take
God
care.
bless. Take care.
Right. Bye.
Take care.